Hey everybody, this is Perch. A few bits of comic news in case you missed it. There's some new series coming out. Not just the brand new Superman #1, Tom Taylor taking on Jonathan Kent as he assumes the mantle of Superman while his dad, Kal-El Clark Kent, heads off into space or Atlantis or both or neither. A little hard to tell, but anyway, he's fighting War World and refugees coming there. And Tom Taylor is going to be taking on the, our John Kent Superman. So Tom Taylor's done this before with, I believe, Wolverine over in Marvel Land, Laura Wolverine. Here we're getting a couple new comics out, and this one I think is how DC is going to kind of fill the void that was left from what was assumed in their publishing schedule was going to be the Three Jokers sequel that Jeff Johns kind of initially teased, and then now it's kind of a big question mark with where it's coming. Three Jokers is doing very well in the aftermarket. It's doing great sales on Amazon with trades and everything else. So it's definitely been a strong book for DC. So the sequel was kind of hinted at coming in 2021. I'm not sure anybody actually believed that was going to happen, but it was there. But now we're getting a 3-part prestige format. Brian Azzarello, who is returning to the Joker. Of course, he did a pretty strong book there, but he's getting paired with Alex Malev, who is doing an adults-only Black Label book called Suicide Squad Get Joker. So in this case, the Suicide Squad, led by Amanda Waller, is grabbing also Jason Todd to join the Suicide Squad and go after the Joker. This series is going to begin August 3rd. It's a different format, kind of the size and just general prestige format of Three Jokers. So 3 issues here. And Brian Azzarello and Alex Malev are a pretty strong team. Malev has been working with Bendis like in forever, so it'll be nice to see him work with someone else that maybe won't fill the pages up with so many word balloons. But anyway, the little bits of preview art look really nice. Again, this is a comic coming in August. And nobody is saying, this is my comparison thing I'm drawing, not others. It does feel like maybe there's this is intended to be the August, September, October release window where they're going to put some titles out in the market like we had Three Jokers last year. So it just feels like that's where we're headed there to some extent. The other news coming out of DC is that there's a new after previously canceling or retiring or just stopping talking about it. There was a horror imprint for the Hill House comics at DC. Now we've got a new horror label. DC is saying they're back in the horror business. I'm sure that Hill's kind of wondering what happened to the business that he was in. But this, along with Warner Brothers, it's a very tight synergy between comics and movies. This is going to be an adults-only, they're saying 17+ horror imprint. And the first book will be set in the Conjuring universe as a prequel or lead up to The Conjuring 3 that the movie is coming out. So this is a new horror issue. It's going to be a 5-issue limited series. They got Bill Sienkiewicz to do the covers. This is going to help flesh out the world of The Conjuring a little bit more, but also kickstart this new horror imprint. Now, this is slightly confusing to me because about 2 years ago or less than 2 years ago, DC made kind of a big show of retiring Young Animal, and they had Black Label, and they had whatever the Bendis, the kid-oriented stuff, Wonder Comics was there, and there was all these different imprints and labels, and they made a big deal about how they had gone astray, and they shouldn't have so many imprints and labels, and they should, we need to sell DC as DC. So now it looks like they're going back and they're just doing it all over again, and so we're getting it all again. So this is Conjuring the Lover. Again, it's covered by Bill Sienkiewicz, but the other bits of the news, it's going to be co-written by screenwriter David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who wrote The Conjuring 2, and drawn by Gary Brown, who did Baby Teeth. And then there will be some backup stories in this. And the first one is written by Scott Snyder, who we haven't seen around DC in some time. And Dennis Cohen will be doing the art there. And then there will be another story by Che Grayson and Juan Ferreira. So unclear how much, I think the comic is saying $4.99, but in theory, there's quite a bit in here. But this is going to definitely be a book where this is intended to be a big deal. So expect, particularly with the tie into Warner Media, DC is going to make a lot of noise around how they're in horror comics. And from what I understand, there's going to be some level of announcement about where they're going to sell some of these horror comics, not just in the comic stores, but some other places to try and really, push out the fact that they've got more going on. And then kind of on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, they're coming out with a digital first, but then will be printed new comic book series. It's a limited series again for Justice League Unlimited. And this is based on from the animated series, and it's called Justice League Infinity. And as I recall, I think I read somewhere it's eight books are going to come out of this when all is said and done. So it was a weird number. Maybe it was less than that. But this is going to take the team that we saw for the cartoon for Justice League Unlimited, call it Justice League Infinity. So if you're hating the Brian Michael Bendis Justice League, this is, and you get something different. So James DeMatteis will be writing a book starring Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, The Flash, Green Lantern, the Jon Stewart version, Hawk Girl, the Martian Manhunter, and variety of characters. We see Blue Beetle and Red Tornado and the Atom, and looks like Ralph Dinby's in there too. So we get a couple of 7 issues. There we go, 7 issues. And this is, again, a digital first starting May 13th and then July 6th. We're all waiting for the DC solicitations that will be out. By the time you're hearing this video, probably about 2 or 3 days later, sometime we should see those. So a couple new DC comics coming out, and that's exciting. They are still publishing content, yes, but a little bit of something for everyone. We got a horror book. We've got a new Suicide Squad prestige format book, and we got Justice League Infinity. So that's a little bit of everything. And they're changing the logo for Action Comics for what it's worth. Got a lot of people angry about that. I mean, I get it. I like I've said other places, I think when you're going to change stuff that's been around forever, people are going to express disappointment because they're used to it. That's not weird. It's not abnormal. It's normal. But it's. I always hate that people change something that people got used to. People get angry about it, maybe more angry than they should. And then the people who changed it pretend like they have no idea why everybody's getting upset. Why? How in the world could you get upset about this thing? We've just built the collector's market and told you that you should rely on stuff and encouraged you to buy hundreds of issues in a certain way. And then we change it and we don't understand why in the world you could possibly be upset about that. Who knew? It's amazing. Anyway, one last bit of news, hopping over for a second, over in the world of Marvel. We'd heard that, the Immortal Hulk is ending relatively soon. There's been some speculation it's issue 50. I don't know if I've seen full confirmation of that. There's been some interviews where they kind of refer to that, but it's soft enough that it may or may not be ending. We're not sure. But Immortal Hulk, The Time of Monsters is a one-shot. And they're going to be doing a number of these little one-shot comics to kind of flesh out more of the world of the Hulk. In this case, this is the story of the original Hulk from 10,000 years ago. This is the boy is the first boy to open the green door, and this is this concept that Al Ewing has produced inside of the Immortal Hulk comic that he's running. So this is by a different writer. It's by Alex Packendell and artist Juan Ferreira. It's Al Ewing is acting as the co-plotter, which is kind of steering it. But this is going to continue to flesh out a Hulk mythology. And we were told to expect several more of these. There will be a handful of one-shots coming out to kind of just, I think Declan Shalvey did one, and there will be more of these one-shots coming out as Marvel continues to try and squeeze every drop of money. I mean, I'm sorry, build out the world of the Hulk. It's not meant to be a cheap shot. Of course, if you're enjoying this series, this is good news, and getting more content is all good. It's not just a cash grab, or they'd be doing 50 of these and they'd be polybagged with cards. But maybe next month. we'll see. Anyway, all of these things, anything you're interested in, it's a new Hulk story. We've got the Suicide Squad. We've got DC with a brand new horror imprint, and we've got Justice League Infinity there with an old cartoon feel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and most importantly, thanks for listening.